Buckle up, because what you're about to witness is not a storyline, not a Bravo rumor, not a cast fight. This is the moment an entire franchise died on stage. Tonight, the truth that Bravo tried to hide in locked vaults, encrypted files, and sealed court documents just erupted in front of thousands. And it all started the second Wendy stepped onto the BravoCon stage, shaking, pale, breathless, like a woman walking straight into her own execution. Fans were cheering, cameras were flashing, but Wendy's eyes? Empty, broken, like she already knew the nightmare waiting for her, because just a few feet away, Gizelle and Darby stood shoulder to shoulder, smiling with the kind of cold confidence you only see right before a public destruction. The kind of smile killers have in movies when they know the victim has no escape. And then, Ashley reached into her bag, not for notes, not for a prop, but for a matte black encrypted hard drive, the one thing Wendy prayed would never surface. The hall screamed. Gizelle grabbed the mic and said the 7 words that froze every heartbeat in that room. This is what Wendy tried to hide. Wendy's knees buckled, her breath vanished, her entire world collapsed in real time, because the hard drive wasn't just hers. It belonged to Edward, her husband, the man she trusted more than Bravo, more than friends, more than anyone. A man whose voice would soon echo through the speakers, trembling, terrified, exposing a secret so dark it could end Wendy's career, her marriage, and her entire public life in one blow. And when that first file opened, the crowd realized no one was leaving this room unchanged. When Wendy walked back onto that BravoCon stage, it didn't feel like a comeback. It felt like a test. Her heels clicked against the floor. The crowd screamed her name, but her eyes kept darting around the room as if she was searching for an exit. On social media, people later zoomed in on that moment, saying her smile looked forced, like someone who knew the ground under her feet wasn't solid anymore. Some fans say you can literally see the second her heart drops, even before the hard drive appears. From certain angles, cameras caught Gizelle and Ashley quietly watching her from the side, not clapping, not cheering, just waiting. There was something about the way they leaned in toward each other, whispering, that set viewers on edge. It didn't look like 2 friends enjoying the show. It looked like 2 people sitting on a secret. A few fan pages even claimed that night was never about celebrating Wendy's return. It was about exposing it. The energy in the hall shifted the moment Ashley reached into her bag. At first, it just looked like she was grabbing her phone or some notes. Normal, harmless. But then the black, matte hard drive caught the light, and the room reacted before she even said a word. People in the front rows started standing up, phones raised, like they already knew something dangerous was about to happen. Some swear they heard one producer off camera say, "We are not cleared for this," though there's no proof of that, just whispers from people who insist they were there. Ashley's voice didn't sound angry. That's what made it worse. It was calm, steady, almost rehearsed. She told the crowd Wendy's return was unexpected for some of us, and that line alone set off a wave of speculation. Who exactly was us? The cast? The network? Someone higher up with more to lose? Fans started posting clips, slowing them down, noticing how Wendy froze when Ashley mentioned surprises, as if she knew exactly what was coming next. Then came the line that split the fandom in 2, the claim that the encrypted drive came from Edward's laptop backup. Again, nothing officially confirmed, no legal stamp, no public statement. But in that room, in that moment, truth didn't matter. The perception did. Ashley holding that drive up like evidence and saying Edward's name out loud was enough to make half the audience gasp, and the other half grab their phones and start typing. Did Wendy's own husband send this? Wendy's reaction became the clip people couldn't stop replaying. She didn't brush it off. She didn't laugh. She didn't hit back with a shady one-liner. She panicked. Her voice cracked. Her hands shook, and she begged them to stop. Some viewers saw that as proof she was being ambushed. Others took it as a sign there really was something on that drive she didn't want anyone to see. No one knows for sure. But that uncertainty is exactly what made the moment explode online. Gizelle stepping forward made everything feel colder. She didn't shout, she didn't drag, she just dropped that alleged quote, claiming Edward supposedly said if he vanished or if Wendy returned, the drive would explain everything. There's no public recording of Edward saying that, no document shown on camera verifying it, but the way Gizelle delivered it, like she was reading from a script etched into her mind, gave that sentence a weight it might not have deserved. It felt less like reality and more like a verdict. Tech crew being called in was the point where it stopped feeling like a panel and started feeling like a trial. The lights hit the big screen, the hard drive got plugged in, and suddenly the whole convention hall was acting like a courtroom audience waiting for evidence. People who claim to have been there say even the other housewives looked uneasy, glancing at each other as if someone had crossed a line that couldn't be uncrossed. One rumor even suggests a producer tried to cut the feed and was overruled in real time. But again, that's internet talk, not confirmed fact. When the screen flashed that decrypt prompt, it felt like a countdown. Yes or no, stop or go, end it now, or burn it all down. Gizelle raising her hand and saying yes didn't just move a cursor. It pushed an entire story off a cliff. Somewhere in the crowd, people claim they heard someone shout, "Don't do it!" Others say the silence was louder than any reaction, just hundreds of people holding their breath while a bar on a giant screen filled up inch by inch. Then that folder name appeared, Wendy returned files. No one outside that room can prove that's what it really said. The screenshots floating around could be edited, the fonts could be fake, the sizes could be exaggerated, but none of that stopped fans from sharing them like they were classified documents. The list of files, voice notes, legal docs, hotel video, emails, an affidavit, something labeled emergency recording, read like the table of contents of a downfall. Wendy's voice trying to cut through the chaos broke a lot of people watching. She kept insisting it was manipulated, that someone was trying to destroy her family, that this wasn't about truth, it was about control. To some, she sounded like a woman being cornered by people who didn't care what was real. To others, she sounded like someone finally being confronted by receipts she never expected to see blown up on a giant screen. The most haunting part, according to those who say they saw it live, wasn't even the files. It was the way Wendy's body language changed when the cursor hovered over that audio labeled emergency recording wave. Her shoulders dropped, her eyes closed for a second too long. It was as if she recognized the name, knew the sound, and understood exactly how much damage it could do if it played in front of thousands. No one in the audience knew what was on that recording yet. They didn't know if it would prove anything, if it would clear her, or if it would make everything worse. All they knew was one thing: if they pressed play, there was no going back. And in that split second, right before the audio started, right before Edward's alleged voice filled the hall, BravoCon stopped being a fan event and turned into something else entirely. A live, public gamble with a woman's entire life laid out on a screen, while the world watched, judged, and whispered without knowing what was actually true. The moment the audio started, the hall didn't breathe, not one person. The sound crackled like an old confession trying to fight its way out of the dark, and somewhere in the back rows, someone whispered, "This is going to ruin everything." That whisper wasn't recorded, but those who claim they were there swear the energy shifted, like the entire room knew they were crossing into territory Bravo never intended to show. Edward's voice, if it was really his, didn't sound strong, confident, or rehearsed. It sounded exhausted, as if every word carried the weight of a secret he'd been dragging for years. There was a tremble in his tone, the kind that only appears when someone is at the edge of giving up. If she goes back, if she stands in that spotlight again, they need to know I tried. That was the line that ignited chaos online. Some fans insist it was edited. Others say the tone was too raw to be fake, but nobody could deny Wendy's reaction. Her face draining color, her jaw locking, her whole body folding like she'd been hit by something she didn't see coming. Wendy didn't argue this time. She didn't shout. She just stood there with her hand over her heart, whispering something no microphone caught. Maybe it was why. Maybe it was Edward's name. Maybe it was nothing. Speculation turned into obsession. The audio continued, each sentence sounding like it was ripped from the middle of a much longer conversation. "I'm not proud of this, but she left me no choice." People claimed they heard footsteps in the background, a door closing, maybe even muffled crying, though none of that was confirmed. It was the atmosphere that did the damage. The sound of a man unraveling, the sound of a story no one expected to hear in a hall full of fans, cameras, and cast members dressed for celebration. Wendy finally stepped toward the screen, her voice breaking. "Turn it off, please. That's not what you think it is. That's not..." But Ashley cut her off. "Wendy, if this isn't what it sounds like, then you tell them what it is." That single sentence sliced through the room. It wasn't angry. It wasn't dramatic. It was surgical. And that calmness is what made it so brutal. Wendy didn't answer. Some say she didn't know how. Others say she couldn't. But the silence was louder than the audio ever could be. The crew paused the file. The screen froze on a waveform, the jagged blue shape of a broken man's voice. Fans snapped photos of it, zooming in, posting theories. Some claimed the shape was edited. Others believed it was real-time, untouched, raw. The truth didn't matter. The conversation did. Then the second file opened. This one wasn't audio. It was video. A grainy clip named Hotel Night. Instant panic spread through the hall. Fans gasped. Some covered their mouths. Others whispered, "No way," while a few backed away from the stage as if they were witnessing something forbidden. The clip didn't show anything scandalous. Just a hallway, dim lighting, a shadow walking past a door, and a timestamp, but the name of the clip, Hotel Night, was enough to send social media into meltdown. No details, no explanation, just a title and a blurry figure. Who the figure was, no one could tell. The internet, of course, filled in the blanks with theories, edits, overlays, and guesses. Gizelle didn't even need to say anything. The implication was the weapon. Wendy shook her head, her breath uneven. "That's not me. That's not anybody I know. This is pathetic. This is all twisted." The third file opened before she finished speaking. Legal Docs 2019. Pages filled the screen. Signatures blurred, dates highlighted, lines underlined. Fans in the room leaned forward. The ones watching bootleg clips online later zoomed so hard their screens pixelated. Some claimed the papers were about an old dispute. Others said it looked like a settlement draft. No one actually knew what they were reading, yet everyone acted like they understood enough to react. Ashley stepped forward again, voice steady. These were found in the same backup, same folder, same time period. Wendy pressed her hand to her forehead. She whispered something like, "This is being misused," but the crowd noise drowned her out. Then came the file that broke the room apart. Bravo, deal, confidential. Nobody knew what it contained because the file didn't open immediately. The computer lagged. The screen flickered. People swear they heard the crew argue backstage about whether to continue. A few fans seated near the front claimed a producer mouthed, "Not this one," but lip reading on blurry recordings is never trustworthy. While the file struggled to load, Ashley said quietly, "You should tell them before it appears." Wendy looked at her, really looked at her, not with anger, with betrayal, not the kind between co-stars, the kind between people who once shared green rooms, shared secrets, shared tears. The hall fell dead silent. Then, the file opened. Just a paragraph, blurry, pixelated, unreadable in places, but one line was clear. Internal understanding regarding cast conduct, narrative protection, and undisclosed agreements. It didn't say what the agreement was. It didn't name Wendy. It didn't name Bravo. It didn't mention wrongdoing. But the words narrative protection were enough to send the entire fandom into hysteria. People shouted, some cheered, some booed, some demanded the truth, others demanded the drive be shut down. Wendy stepped back like she'd been hit. Her voice cracked. "You're twisting everything. That has nothing to do with me. You don't even know what that is." Gizelle replied without raising her voice. "Then why are you shaking?" That line, that small, simple, brutal line, became the quote of the night. Wendy opened her mouth to speak, but the next file flashed. Emails, Wendy, truth. This time, the crew hesitated. The cursor hovered but didn't click. The room started chanting. Half wanted it opened, half begged them to stop. The cast exchanged looks that could only be described as panic mixed with fascination. And in the middle of this chaos, Wendy collapsed into a chair. She didn't faint. She didn't scream. She just sat down, defeated, overwhelmed, shaking, her voice barely audible. "You're destroying something that wasn't even yours to touch." Ashley took one step toward her, then stopped. Maybe she felt something. Maybe she hesitated, but the moment was brief, because then the final file appeared. Affidavit final.pdf. The hall turned silent again. Wendy's head snapped up. Some say her eyes instantly filled with tears when she recognized the layout of the document on the screen. Others claimed she whispered, "No, no, no." Even before the first page opened, the cursor clicked. Edward's name appeared. Not clearly, not fully, but enough for people to make assumptions. But the most haunting part wasn't the name, it was the date. The day before her BravoCon return. And the line at the bottom, the line fans swear they saw before the clip cut out. "I cannot continue shielding her." Whether that was real or not, no one knows. Whether the drive was authentic, edited, manipulated, or staged, no one knows either. But the damage was already done. Wendy stood up slowly, tears running down her face, and whispered to the crowd, "You don't know the story. You only know what they want you to see." And just like that, the meltdown became legend. No one expected the room to fall into the kind of silence that feels dangerous. The kind of silence that comes right before everything you know gets rewritten in front of your eyes. But that's exactly what happened the moment the affidavit appeared on the screen, and Wendy's world cracked open like glass dropped on stone. She didn't collapse physically, not yet, but something inside her clearly did. You could see see it in the way her hand trembled as she reached for the mic, missing it the first time. In the way her eyes scanned the crowd, not for support, but for one face she hoped might still be on her side. In the way her shoulders folded inward, like she was preparing for a hit she couldn't dodge anymore. Rumors later said she was looking for her sister. Others said she was looking for a producer she trusted. Some claimed she was looking for Edward himself, as if he might walk in and stop all of this. He didn't. Instead, the hall lights flickered again, and the screen zoomed in on the signature. Some fans say the signature didn't look identical. Others swear it matched perfectly. Some insist the stamp on the bottom was blurry on purpose. Others think it was a glitch from the feed. No one agrees on anything, except the fact that Wendy's reaction wasn't acting. Her voice finally broke free, but it didn't sound like the Wendy everyone knew from television. Sharp, confident, witty. It sounded like someone whose ribs were being crushed from the inside. You don't understand. That document isn't what you think. He didn't sign that for the reasons you're implying. You don't know the context. Gizelle didn't even blink. Then explain it. Wendy blinked hard, breathing uneven. I can't. I'm not allowed to. And you know that. Ashley folded her arms, leaning slightly toward her mic. If you weren't allowed, why does the date match the day before your return? Why is that exact page in an encrypted backup? Why does your husband's name appear on something hidden behind layers of passwords? Again, questions, not confirmations. But in a room full of people desperate for a narrative, those questions were as powerful as answers. Wendy tried again, swallowing hard. This isn't fair. You're using pieces of something that isn't complete. You're twisting it. You're hurting people who didn't deserve to be pulled into this. The audience murmured, some sympathetic, others cold. The divide was clear. Half the room wanted to protect her, half wanted the next file opened. Then suddenly, without warning, the lights dimmed further and the screen flashed black, not because someone cut it off, but because another file automatically queued. An unlabeled one, no name, no description, just a blinking cursor. Some viewers swear the tech crew panicked. Others say the person operating the system froze. Someone online even claimed the file wasn't part of the list at all, that it appeared only after the affidavit opened. All gossip, all unclear, but the panic on Wendy's face was undeniable. She whispered, "Not that one." Barely audible, barely stable, barely breathing. Gizelle looked at her sharply. "You know what it is?" Wendy closed her eyes, her lips trembling as she mouthed the word, "Yes." But the microphones didn't pick it up. It was her expression, that mix of recognition and dread, that confirmed to everyone watching that whatever was inside that unnamed file, it was bigger than anything they'd seen so far. Ashley hesitated for the first time all night. The cursor hovered. The crowd leaned closer. The tension strangled the room. And then, the file opened. A still image appeared. A phone screenshot, a blurry message thread, the sender name hidden, the timestamp unclear, but the words, the ones visible, hit like explosives thrown directly into the audience. "She can't return, not after what happened. I warned her. You know what this will do to us." The meaning wasn't obvious, but that didn't matter. Online detectives began decoding it before the image fully loaded. Some fans insisted the messages looked like they came from Edward's phone. Others believed they were from someone inside Bravo. A few speculated they were from someone Wendy trusted deeply. The theories spiraled instantly. Wendy's legs gave out. She caught herself on the podium, nails digging into the edge, breathing so shallow it barely moved her chest. "That's not real," she whispered. No, that's not real. That wasn't meant to be seen. That wasn't..." Emotion cracked her voice completely. She looked like she was holding the pieces of her own life in shaking hands, unable to keep them together. Ashley took a step back, uncertain now. Gizelle's stare softened for half a second, before the screen shifted again. The image dissolved into a short audio clip, just 3 seconds long. A woman's voice, crying, saying, "Don't let them open it. Please don't." Some fans swear it sounded like Wendy. Others say it didn't. Some claim it was edited. Others think it was untouched. But no one forgot the way Wendy reacted. She covered her ears and screamed, "Turn it off!" Security moved toward the stage immediately. Producers rushed out from behind the curtains. Cameras were pulled back. The feed flickered, but the audience wasn't done. They shouted over the chaos, demanding answers, demanding clarity, demanding the truth, even though the truth was buried under layers of rumors, screenshots, passwords, and fear. Wendy sank to the floor, leaning against the podium, her face buried in her hands. Not dramatic, not staged, just broken. Fans sitting close described her quietly repeating, "It wasn't supposed to go like this. He promised. He promised." Whispers spread like wildfire. Who promised? What wasn't supposed to happen? Why was this file even on the drive? Why did she seem more scared of this this clip than anything else? Rumors exploded instantly. Some fans insisted the file was meant for lawyers only. Others suggested it belonged to a Bravo executive. Some said it was a deleted voicemail Edward thought was gone. No one agreed. Everyone speculated. Bravo security finally disconnected the screen, but not before someone in the crowd captured a final flicker. A half-loaded message at the top corner. Backup incomplete. One file missing. That one line alone created 1,000 new theories in under an hour. Wendy slowly stood, wiping her face, trying to pull herself together. Her voice was a whisper when she finally spoke into the mic. "You are destroying more than you understand. You're not exposing me. You're exposing pain that wasn't meant to be entertainment." Some people clapped, some stared coldly, some cried with her, but Gizelle's expression remained unreadable. Ashley looked shaken. The cast backstage watched silently. Wendy stepped away from the podium, walking toward the edge of the stage, trembling but trying to hold on to the last pieces of herself. Before she left, she turned around, looked at everyone, Gizelle, Ashley, the fans, the cameras, and said one final line that stopped the entire meltdown cold. "You think this is the whole story? This is just the part someone wanted you to see." And with that, she walked off stage. The hall stayed frozen, caught between shock, confusion, and a hunger for answers that might never truly come. The meltdown wasn't just an event anymore. It had become a legend. And now you've seen it, the moment that shattered BravoCon, the moment that broke Wendy on a stage built to celebrate her return. If you felt your chest tighten watching her world fall apart, if you felt that punch in the gut shock when the hard drive opened, then listen carefully, because you are part of this story now. Don't let this meltdown disappear into silence. Don't let powerful people twist the narrative. Don't let the loudest voices bury what we witnessed tonight. Your voice is the only thing that keeps this truth from getting erased. Hit that like button so this story climbs higher and reaches every corner of the Bravo fandom. Drop a comment. Tell the world what you think happened, what you saw, what you felt. Use the hashtag #WendyDeservesAnswers so the cast, the producers, and the entire Bravo machine hear you loud and clear. And share this video everywhere. TikTok, Instagram, your group chats, because the more people see it, the harder it becomes for anyone to hide the next chapter. And trust me, that missing file, that unfinished backup, it's coming. Subscribe now. You do not want to miss what drops next.